Let's go. Okay, Leute, ja, Aufzeichnung läuft. Ein herzliches Willkommen von meiner Seite, Retired Young Family. Schön, dass ihr alle am Start seid. Wir sind gerade live zugeschaltet aus dem wunderschönen Zürich, denn wir haben hier das letzte Event unserer Schweiz-Tour veranstaltet. Morgen geht es gemeinsam mit ein paar Top-Leadern nach Österreich, denn wir haben in Graz, in Innsbruck und in Wien ein Opportunity-Event. Und danach geht es in größere Städte in Ostdeutschland, Süddeutschland und Norddeutschland. Seid auf jeden Fall am Start. Ich freue mich immer wieder, neue Gesichter zu sehen. Wir hatten jetzt jeden einzelnen Tag ein Event, wirklich wenig Schlaf natürlich auch gehabt. Aber es ist umso schöner, einfach glückliche Gesichter zu sehen, sich mit Leuten auszutauschen, Geschichten zu hören und einfach ja, Leuten gewisse Art und Weise wirklich Inspiration geben zu können. Und heute wirst du zu 100% auch eine Inspiration bekommen, denn wir haben wirklich zwei absolute Granaten auf dem Call. Aber bevor ich die erste Granate auf diesem Call edifyen darf, möchte ich dir kurz als Information geben, dass wir aktuell nur noch, ich glaube, um die 10 Tickets zu vergeben haben für unser CH100 and Above Ausbildungsevent, was am 29. August 2021 in Dortmund im Radisson Blu Hotel stattfinden wird, mit 150 Teilnehmern. Denn das ist unser Jubiläums- Event, denn das Movement Retired Young ist dann exakt ein Jahr alt. Vor exakt einem Jahr wurde in diesem Raum dieses Movement gegründet und das ist ein Grund auf jeden Fall zu zelebrieren. Würde mich freuen, wenn die eine oder andere Person sich dazu noch committet, dort am Start zu sein. Yes, und wir haben wirklich ganz viele Leute da wirklich am Start, die dort einen Part machen werden. Unter anderem auch die Person, die ich jetzt edifyen darf. Und wer ist das? Das ist nämlich die liebe Milea Gerdes. Und ihr müsst euch vorstellen, Milea ist gerade mal 10 Kilometer von meinem Heimatdorf entfernt aufgewachsen. 10 Kilometer lang, 10 Kilometer weit. Und sie ist erst 2 Jahre später in dieses Business gekommen, als ich schon längst am Start gewesen bin. So, ich habe sie damals immer mal öfters gesehen. Sie war so die kleine Partymaus in Brake und Tavesa oder in Oldenburg. Und so hat man sie halt immer wieder gesehen. Sie kannte viele Menschen, man kannte auch Milea so ein wenig. Nur ich kannte sie halt nicht allzu gut und ich hatte sie nie auf dem Radar so wirklich, weshalb ich sie damals leider in den ersten 2 Jahren nicht wirklich direkt angesprochen habe, sondern diese Verbindung über Umwege dann zustande gekommen ist, auch über Aaron und David, Ogo nämlich. Und umso schöner ist es jetzt, dass sie wirklich Teil unserer Community ist. Weil Milea ist wirklich eine Frau, die hat wirklich das Herz am rechten Fleck. Und sie ist eine absolute Kämpferin, wirklich eine absolute Kämpferin. Ich kenne auch ein bisschen ihre Geschichte und sie inspiriert mittlerweile so viele Frauen insbesondere. Sie ist hier gestartet, als wir wirklich zum Teil auf solchen Events zu 90-95% Männer sitzen hatten, wirklich. Und das war extrem schade, weil diese weibliche Energie kann wirklich sehr viel bewegen. Und sie hat ihre weibliche Energie dafür genutzt, um noch viele weitere Frauen wirklich wie Sonnenblumen zum Aufblühen zu bringen. Und mittlerweile ist sie wirklich auf einem guten Weg, die erste Chairlady im deutschsprachigen Raum wirklich zu werden. Und das ist wirklich ein absoluter Meilenstein in dieser History, auch von der IM Academy. Weil es gibt wenige Chairladies. Ich glaube, es gibt vielleicht gerade mal, sagen wir mal, 20, 30 Chairladies oder so. Und sie ist einer der einzigen Chairladies im europäischen Raum dann sogar, soweit ich das weiß. Und warum? Hört ihr gleich einfach wirklich zu. Dann wisst ihr zu 100%, warum sie eine Frau ist, die ihr Potenzial zu 100% entfaltet hat, ihr Potenzial noch viel weiter entfalten wird und mittlerweile eine riesengroße Power-Lady-Community wirklich aufgebaut hat, wofür jeder Einzelne von uns extrem dankbar ist. Milea, danke, dass du Teil von uns bist. Danke, dass du auch eine gute Freundin von mir da bist und ich freue mich immer wieder, dich zu sehen. Und in dem Sinne, Milea, übergebe ich dir einfach mal das Wort und rock die Bühne hier.
Ja, danke. Oh, danke, Jan. Ehrlich, dein Edifying, das geht auch immer runter wie Öl. Und es geht immer damit los, dass du sagst, dass wir aus einer City kommen. Und manchmal kann ich es dann auch selber gar nicht glauben. Das ist echt verrückt. Aber ich glaube, alles kommt irgendwie zur rechten Zeit. Und ich bin schon zur richtigen Zeit gestartet. Und irgendwie denke ich, wenn sowas in unser Leben kommt, dann ist es auch irgendwo ein Zeichen. Deswegen, wenn das Business gerade in dein Leben gekommen ist und du auch wahrscheinlich vielleicht noch relativ neu bist oder auch halt noch nicht bist, ist es zur richtigen Zeit, zum richtigen Ort da gewesen, sonst wäre es nicht gekommen. Und irgendwie, wo Jan jetzt so von weiblicher, was hat er hier gesagt, weibliche Energie oder weibliche Liebe oder irgendwie so, habe ich auch gedacht, ja, und genau mit diesem Inhalt muss man das Ganze auch, glaube ich, füllen. Ich glaube gar nicht, dass man das Business irgendwie wirklich auf Facts und diesen ganzen Dingen und auf diesen ganzen Skills und sowas, das ist alles wichtig, alles gut, aber ich glaube, dass die Liebe und alles das, womit du das füllst, dass das eigentlich wirklich macht. Und ich wollte euch eine kleine Geschichte erzählen, weil ich will natürlich, um halb kommt Zain hierauf, will ich auch gar nicht so viel irgendwie vorwegnehmen. Ich bin schon total grateful, dass ich hier überhaupt meinen Part haben darf, aber ich wollte eine kleine Story mit euch teilen, weil ich versuche mal gerne so in Bildern zu sprechen, weil ich glaube, alles, was wir uns irgendwie vorstellen oder wo wir auch gerade sind, das ist sowieso manchmal so abstrakt, dass man dem nicht folgen kann. Und ich glaube deswegen, ich versuche es mal in Bildern zu beschreiben. Und ich habe es auf dem einen oder anderen Call auch in letzter Zeit schon gemacht. Und zwar bewegen wir oder sind wir ja gerade alle eigentlich auf dieser Road to Success. So. Also wir sind eigentlich, ist es straight ein Weg geradeaus. Und wir wissen auch, wenn wir uns auf diesem Weg befinden, wenn wir da geradeaus laufen, wir wissen, da hinten ist irgendwo unser Ziel. Und meistens, vielleicht ist da irgendwie Nebel davor oder Bäume und du siehst es auch noch nicht, weil du siehst meistens ja noch nicht genau das, wo du wirklich hin willst. Du hast so im Kopf ungefähr, wo du hin möchtest, aber du siehst noch gar nicht dieses Endresultat, sondern du bist erstmal irgendwie auf dieser Startbahn. Du bist da irgendwie erstmal gelandet und es geht erstmal nur darum, geradeaus zu gehen. Und das Ding ist, was jetzt passiert, weil eigentlich wäre das geradeausgehen ja noch nicht mal das Schwere. So, und es ist eigentlich auch egal, ob du irgendwie dahin krabbelst oder ob du Inliner fährst oder mal Fahrrad fährst oder mal im Rennauto sitzt, aber Hauptsache, du gehst geradeaus. Und das, was aber passiert auf diesem Weg, sind so viel Ablenkungen, so viel Abzweigungen, Stoppschilder, Ampeln, Menschen, die da stehen und sagen, nein, geh nicht weiter, falscher Weg. So viel, was dir auf diesem Weg, der eigentlich nur geradeaus gehen soll, passiert, der dich ablenkt. Und das, was wir nicht verstehen, ist, dass das eigentliche Schwere ist. Das Schwere ist nicht das geradeausgehen, das Schwere ist nicht wirklich erfolgreich werden, das Schwere ist nur, nicht vom Weg abzukommen, weil genau das passiert uns, egal in welcher Art und Weise. Und das, was da als Ablenkungen ist, egal ob das jetzt irgendwelche, keine Ahnung, vermeintlichen Abkürzungen sind, die dich aber eigentlich in den Stau führen oder eigentlich in eine Baustelle führen, weil eigentlich geht es gar nicht weiter oder wahrscheinlich sogar auch noch zurückführen oder so, das sind Tests, womit du getestet wirst, ob du wirklich ready bist für diesen Weg, der eigentlich nur geradeaus geht. Weil ich kann dir hier auf diesem Call die heftigsten Skills mitgeben. Ich kann dir sagen, welche Daily To-Dos du machen musst. Und ich weiß auch, dass es auf vielen Calls gemacht wird. Und ich möchte dich, das wollte ich eigentlich von Anfang an sagen, ich habe es aber irgendwie gerade überschnitten oder überschritten. Ich wollte dir sagen, wir sind hier auf dem Call mit knapp 400 Leuten. Und ich weiß, wie das ist, wenn man mit 400 Leuten auf dem Call ist. Man fällt in so eine Haltung wie, ich bin eigentlich nicht gemeint, ich bin eigentlich nicht angesprochen worden. Deswegen bin ich immer gerne einzeln mit den Leuten auf dem Call, weil man dann zuhören muss, weil es dann anders ankommt. Fühl dich mal bitte heute bei dem ganzen Call einfach mal persönlich angesprochen. Versuch's mal anzunehmen, mehr. Und nicht nur, ich bin zwischen 400 Leuten irgendwie mit dabei, sondern es geht hier um dich. Ich bin für dich hier drauf. Ich bin für jeden Einzelnen hier auf dem Call, um dir das mitzugeben und nicht nur für eine Teilnehmerzahl, sondern für dich als Person. Also nimm das einfach mal alles an, was gerade kommt. Versuch das für dich. Es geht hier um dich. Und zu diesem Weg, der gerade ausgeht, weshalb da diese ganzen Leute an den Seiten stehen oder Abzweigungen sind, ist eigentlich, weil du eine Eintrittskarte bekommen hast zu einem Leben, was du dir schon immer gewünscht hast und eigentlich nur getestet wird, ob du die richtige Entscheidung warst, dass du diese Eintrittskarte haben durftest. Wer weiß, dass es logisch ist, dass nur ein ganz paar Menschen erfolgreich und reich werden können, weil sonst das Gleichgewicht der Welt auseinanderfällt. Es können nur ein paar Menschen sein, es können nur ein paar Menschen reich, erfolgreich sein, es können nur ein ganz paar Menschen dieses eine Leben haben, was wir uns eigentlich alle wünschen. Ihr stellt euch das bitte vor, als ob es nur ein ganz paar Plätze gibt für die Menschen, die da wirklich ankommen dürfen. Und diese Platzanzahl ist eigentlich immer gleich. Es gibt Menschen, die sind irgendwann weg und es werden Eintrittskarten verteilt. Du bekommst, ich weiß nicht, kennt ihr Charlie und die Schokoladenfabrik, wo man diese goldene Karte bekommt, um in diese Fabrik reinzugehen? Stellt euch das so vor. Und es geht ja nicht jeder, ich weiß nicht, ob ihr den Film kennt, man kann das jetzt nur feiern, wenn man den Film kennt, nicht jeder geht wirklich aus dieser Fabrik wieder raus. Also manche kommen da irgendwie so halb raus, aber nicht so, wie sie da reingegangen sind. Aber ganz am Ende, der nicht so viel genommen hat, sondern alles auf sich, der ärmste Junge, der da reingegangen ist, der kommt am Ende zu dem, wo er hin wollte. Aber das nur by the way. Stell dir vor, du hast so eine goldene Karte bekommen. Hast jetzt nicht in der Schokolade gefunden, sondern in der Präsi oder bei Instagram oder whatever. Du hast eine goldene Karte bekommen. Das ist diese Eintrittskarte dafür gewesen, dass du eigentlich so viel Glück hattest, dass dir diese Karte gegeben wurde, dass du eventuell auf einen dieser Plätze sitzen darfst, wo nur die Menschen hinkommen, die wirklich ans Ziel an ihrer Träume kommen, weil dir ist doch bewusst, dass nicht, also ich meine, von den ganzen Menschen dieser Welt sind alleine schon 30-40% niemals in der Lage, so eine Karte zu bekommen, weil sie nicht den Zugang dazu haben, weil sie zu arm sind, weil sie nicht am richtigen Ort geboren wurden, wie auch immer. Alleine 40% sind schon raus, die das niemals machen können. Dann gibt es noch eine gewisse Bildungsschicht, die dafür auch nicht ready wäre und auch vielleicht nicht unbedingt die Mittel hat, vielleicht auch nicht die Gedanken dafür hat, ihr wisst, wovon ich spreche, eine gewisse Bildungsschicht, eine bestimmte Menschenmenge, das sind auch so 10-20% locker mal, die auch schon nicht zählen. Dann gibt es noch die Menschen, die zu alt oder zu jung sind, die sind auch schon weg. Es gibt nur so paar Menschen, denen überhaupt so eine Karte gegeben werden darf und euch wurde die gegeben. Ich weiß nicht, ob man das manchmal checkt, aber du bist ja nicht durch Zufall auf so einen Instagram-Account gekommen oder dir wurde so eine Präsi gegeben. Es gab schon so viele Möglichkeiten, wo du hättest Nein sagen können, aber du hast Ja gesagt, ich höre mir das an, du hast Ja gesagt, ich probiere das aus. Also verkack's nicht, indem du nur, weil mal irgendein Motivationsloch kommt, dann Nein sagst. Das ist Käse. Jeder weiß doch, wer hier auf dem Call weiß, dass zum Erfolgreichwerden auch Scheitern gehört.
Safe.
Ja, also warum hören wir dann auf, wenn wir mal scheitern? Ja, macht keinen Sinn. Also du hast diese goldene Karte bekommen für diese Sitzplätze, die es gibt für die Menschen, die da ankommen. Und diesen Weg, den du gehst, der eigentlich nur geradeaus geht, der eigentlich ja so easy wäre, wenn man ihn einfach nur geradeaus gehen würde, der ist da und diese ganzen Tests und diese ganzen Scheißphasen und dieser ganze Kack, wo du auch mal durch musst, wo du dir denkst, oh, wozu mache ich das und warum und hier und da, das kommt, weil geguckt wird, warst du es wert, dass dir so eine Karte gegeben wurde. Weil wenn du es nicht mal schaffst, diesen Weg nur geradeaus zu gehen, sondern dich von allen Dingen ablenken lässt und vielleicht den Rückzug antrittst oder dich runterziehen lässt oder bei der ersten, keine Ahnung, bei dem ersten, was passiert, irgendwie schon, keine Ahnung, aufhörst oder so, dann wissen die, du bist nicht ready für diesen Platz. Und deswegen wird dir diese Karte wieder genommen. Die wird nicht verloren gegangen, weil es gibt immer die gleichen Anzahl an Plätzen und jemand anders kriegt die Karte. Das bedeutet, dass wenn du hier aufhörst, wenn du hier quittet, kriegt jemand anders diese Karte und hat einen neuen Versuch, geradeaus zu laufen. Und das Ding ist ja auch, ich habe das schon häufiger erlebt, dass Leute sagen, ja, aber ich mache jetzt eine Pause oder ich höre erstmal auf, das ist Quatsch. Damit hast du diese Karte aus der Hand gegeben. Damit hast du diese goldene Karte kurz aus der Hand gegeben, weil du gesagt hast, du machst eine Pause, du legst sie beiseite. Seit wann kann man sowas denn beiseite legen? Weil dir wird es ja nicht nochmal passieren, dass dir nochmal jemand die Augen öffnet, dass du nochmal auf eine Präsi kommst. Das passiert ja nicht. Das heißt, gibst du das einmal aus der Hand, ist es weg. Und jemand anders darf die Karte haben. Oder jemand anders wird schneller sein und kriegt die Karte und darf schneller an dir vorbeilaufen. Und das ist das, was du, wenn du rauskommst, was du verstehen musst. Es ist egal, was ich dir hier für Skills gebe. Du brauchst einen Burning Desire, du brauchst einen inneren Antrieb. Wenn der nicht da ist, brauche ich dir nichts von Daily To-Dos erzählen. Ich brauche dir nichts erzählen von der Routine, die du haben musst, weil du wirst sie nicht umsetzen, wenn du kein Burning Desire hast. Du wirst es nicht machen, wenn du es dir selbst nicht wert bist. Sei es dir doch selber mal wert. Und wenn dich Dinge im Leben nicht challengen, dann changen sie dich auch nicht. Wenn es dich nicht challenged, wenn es nicht schwer genug ist, dann ändert es nichts bei dir. Also sei froh um die ganzen Challenges, die da kommen, weil du dann endlich ganz genau weißt, deswegen habe ich diese goldene Karte. Deswegen habe ich die. Halt die bitte die ganze Zeit fest, egal wie schnell du läufst, egal wie weit es gerade ausgeht, halt sie fest, umklammere sie, weil das ist die eine Chance, die du bekommen hast. Und irgendwas, egal ob es Gott, das Universum, Attraction, whatever, irgendwas meinte er es richtig, richtig gut mit dir. Und du hast ein verdammt großes Potenzial. Bitte, bitte erfüll das. Bitte nimm dich ernst. Nimm dich ernst genug, was ganz Besonderes zu machen, weil dieses 0815-Leben, das ist ja eh da. Was machst du denn sonst die nächsten 50, 60 Jahre? Das ist ja sowieso alles schon fertig geschrieben. Ist doch alles da. Aber lieber gebe ich doch mal wirklich 3 Jahre Knallgas, weil 3 Jahre im Vergleich zu 60 ist ja nichts. 3 Jahre. Weil du musst mal überlegen, welcher Schmerz ist denn größer? 3 Jahre, weil wirklich zu sagen, ich reiß mich zusammen oder 60 Jahre dann zu wissen, ich bin nicht die Person geworden, die ich werden wollte. Das muss schlimm sein. Das muss so ein Schmerz sein, weil du weißt ganz genau, du bist hier aus einem bestimmten Grund gestartet, nicht weil du ein bestimmtes Geld haben wolltest, du wolltest eine bestimmte Person werden. Weil mit dem Geld willst du doch auch eine bestimmte Person werden. Du willst doch nicht das Geld nur auf deinem Konto haben, sondern es sind die Dinge, die du damit machen willst. Wie du dich vielleicht kleiden willst, wie du leben willst. Du willst eine Person werden. Und das zu verlieren, ist viel schlimmer, dein Leben lang zu wissen, du bist nicht diese Person geworden. Es geht nicht darum, irgendeinen fucking Rank zu haben. Es geht nicht darum, irgendein Trading-Konto zu haben. Es geht nicht darum, Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Es geht darum, die Person, die du werden willst, wer du bist. Das ist so viel größer. Und bitte, du hast diese Eintrittskarte bekommen. Halt die gut fest, whatever comes, halt die gut fest und renn einfach mal nur geradeaus, weil eigentlich ist es gar nicht schwer, du brauchst ja nur dieses Burning Desire, das ist wie, wenn du jetzt so Inliner anhältst und hinten so Düsen dran sind, so Feuer, dass du schneller sein kannst, das brauchst du nur, weil sonst wird es auch echt schwierig. Aber letztendlich, was machst du sonst mit deiner Zeit? Und ich weiß, und das ist ein einziger Punkt. Und ich hab noch ein bisschen Zeit. Ich hoffe, ich kann es noch zeigen. Ich mache kurz eine Bildschirmübertragung, falls ich es machen kann. Warte mal, kurz, kannst du mir ganz kurz, nee, ich kann, ich glaube, ich kann, aber sonst musst du mal Computerton wegmachen. Ich will dir nämlich kurz das zeigen, weil ich weiß nämlich, woran es liegt, dass wir uns unter Druck setzen und es dreht sich immer nur ums Gleiche und zwar ist es Geld. Es kann nicht sein, wenn du gerade ausgehst, es ist ja, wir sind uns doch alle einig, egal ob du gerade Trippelschritte machst oder joggst oder Usain Bolt-mäßig da durchläufst oder sogar im Düsenjet. Wir sind uns alle einig, egal mit welcher Methode du läufst, solange du geradeaus kommst ans Ziel, oder? Das heißt, es ist ja quasi unmöglich, nicht erfolgreich zu werden. Was aber passiert, ist, dass du dir zu wenig Zeit gibst. Dass du zum Beispiel sagst, okay, das und das ist die Strecke und ich weiß, dass ich auf jeden Fall ans Ziel kommen kann. Wenn ich mir aber nur so viel bisschen Zeit gebe, ist klar, dass ich nur die Hälfte schaffe und denke, ich habe es nicht geschafft. Du hast dir nur zu wenig Zeit gegeben. Und warum gibst du dir zu wenig Zeit? Weil du nicht nur ungeduldig bist und weil wir in so einer schnelllebigen Welt leben, weil alles auf Knopfdruck passiert. Nicht nur, dass ich auf Knopfdruck flirten und Menschen kennenlernen kann. Ich kann auf Knopfdruck Essen bestellen. Ich kann auf Knopfdruck Dinge nach Hause zu mir bestellen, alles geht auf Knopfdruck. Aber Dinge, die wertvoll sind, auf die müssen wir warten. Auf die musst du einfach mal warten, weil alles, was auf Knopfdruck geht, ist ja auch echt ersetzbar. Weil ich kann ja wieder einen neuen Knopfdruck machen. Ich kann ja wieder neue Sachen haben. Aber Dinge, die groß genug sind, die sind nicht ersetzbar. Und ja, verdammt nochmal, auf die musst du warten. Und es ist im Leben, genauso wie ich das sage mit dem Gleichgewicht der Welt, ein Geben und Nehmen. Und du kannst niemals etwas so Großes Wunderbares bekommen, wenn du nicht an gewisser Stelle gibst. Du musst etwas zurückgeben oder es wird vielleicht auch genommen, ob es Energy ist, ob es in dem Moment Geld ist, aber das sind alles Dinge, das ist scheißegal eigentlich. Gib doch aber bitte nicht im jungen Alter deine Gesundheit auf, um Geld zu haben, um sie dann später dein Geld wieder gegen deine Gesundheit umzutauschen. Weil das ist das, was du sonst machst. Das ist doch richtiger Käse. Und das, was ich eigentlich nur sagen wollte, ist, wenn du dir zu wenig Zeit gibst, es ist nicht, du kannst nicht einen bestimmten Rank nicht schaffen. Das passiert gar nicht. Du kannst, wenn du lange genug am Start bleibst, du schaffst sowieso alles. Das, warum du dir nicht genug Zeit gibst, ist Geld. Weil du diesen Monatsbeitrag im Kopf hast. Und da will ich dir jetzt eine Sache zu sagen, weil das finde ich, manchmal finde ich, es ist eine Beleidigung und unverschämt, weil ich sage dir ganz ehrlich, würde sich irgendein Trader, sei es ein Christopher Derrick, sei es ein Luke Longmire oder ein Matthew Taylor, würden die sagen, ey, ich mache hier mein eigenes Coaching auf und das kostet 500, 600 Euro im Monat. Die Leute, die diese Trader lang genug verfolgen, die würden das im Monat bezahlen für einen einzigen Trader. Und das ist das, was wir manchmal nicht blicken, was diese Menschen, die eigentlich für einen Impact mitgeben, wo du sonst für das gleiche Geld Air Force und 3 T-Shirts und nochmal Essen gehen von bezahlst. Und ich wollte, und ich habe es einfach mal rausgesucht, nur mal als Vergleich, weil ich weiß, das ist immer der gleiche Punkt. Ich habe mein Tune-Free nicht geschafft. Würde das hier fucking 5 Euro kosten, würden wir alle Schlange stehen und ewig lange laufen, bis wir es schaffen, weil es tut nicht genug weh. Aber das Geld tut bei den meisten weh. Und das ist immer das ist das Ding. Das tut weh und deswegen geben wir uns nicht genügend Zeit. Und ich zeige dir was, weil ich habe was rausgesucht. Warte, ich will meinen Desktop mal kurz teilen. Ich hoffe, das geht alles so, wie ich mir es vorstelle. Warte kurz. Was sollte ich dir zeigen? Okay, genau. Ich habe es mal rausgesucht. Ich bin auf Instagram gegangen und es gibt ganz viele Blogger hier, die ganz bekanntes Pärchen, so, die sind in Thailand. Du kannst auf deren Seite gehen, ich hätte es schon ein bisschen früher öffnen können. So, und du kannst bei denen ein Coaching machen. Okay, da geht es in die Richtung Online-Shop-Aufbau, Sales-Management und so weiter und so fort. Mega tolle Webseite, richtig cool gemacht, wird gut erklärt. Deine Investitionen sind mindestens 2.400 Euro. Ist ein voll normales Coaching. Voll normal, das sind irgendwelche Instagrammer. So, dann gibt es noch Love Life Passport, richtig geil, ist unsere Inspiration, extrem krass, was die auf die Beine gestellt haben. Wenn du auf deren Seite gehst, das kann man hier alles, zack, 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 dann ist das hier schon die Seite? Nee, eine weiter, ich habe schon rausgesucht. Du kannst bei denen eine Internet-Einkommen-Masterclass machen, die ist im Wert von 64.000 Euro. Nur so, by the way. Und jetzt stop it. Du kannst das natürlich netterweise in Raten von 500 Euro bezahlen, aber das ist ja gar nicht das Ding. Jetzt geht es darum, was du dafür bekommst. Ein E-Mail-Support 24/7. Okay, Hammer. Weiß ich nicht, ob ich jetzt Danke sagen soll, weil wir sind da irgendwie mit WhatsApp unterwegs, aber ist cool. Dein eigener Online-Bereich mit Masterclass-Inhalten, keine Ahnung, kennt ihr das IM Center oder so? Ich frage nur. Online-Meetings, keine Frage bleibt offen. Ich weiß nicht, kennt ihr das Bild? Ich glaube, wir befinden uns auf irgendwie sowas. Könnte ich mir vorstellen. Klare Schritt-für-Schritt-Anleitung mit 6 Modulen. Ey, wir haben eine fucking Retired Young-Seite mit 580 Modulen, wo du 5-mal hoch und runter scrollen kannst, wo du alles lernst. 80 Stunden direkt umsetzbarer Content? Keine Ahnung, ich glaube, Go Live sind über 1000 Stunden, wenn man das zusammenzählt. Und irgendwie hier das gleiche auch nochmal und dann ist noch nicht mal die Academy mit eingerechnet und ganz kurz. Wir lernen hier im Übrigen nicht von Profi-Tradern, wie du dein Geld ins Unendliche multiplizieren kannst, sondern du lernst hier Presets zu erstellen, Instagram aufzubauen, den Algorithmus zu verstehen. Nur so. Ich wollte es einfach nur mal erzählen. Wenn wir aber beim Traden sind, ich habe mich mal einfach mal kurz schlau gemacht. Das ist so eine Trading-Seite, wo sich Trader irgendwie unterhalten, bla 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 bla. Und er meinte irgendwie, es gibt eine Ausbildung für 500 Euro, warum sollte ich mehr bezahlen? Ich dachte so, ich finde 500 Euro wenig. Kennen die IM eigentlich? Dann steht hier, mittlerweile bin ich seit 10 Jahren im Börsenhandel aktiv. Ich habe für 2 Banken bla 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 gearbeitet. In Summe habe ich zwischen 10.000 und 20.000 Euro in meine Ausbildung investiert. Dabei waren es verschiedene Konzepte und Mentoren. Normal. Dann habe ich hier habe ich das hier gefunden? Coco Petkov, einer der krassesten Trader, der verkauft seine Academy für 6.000 Euro. Oh, warte. Wenn ich den Leuten sage, das hier ist ein Witz, was du bezahlst, dann ist das kein Schmarrn. Dann meine ich das so. Und sorry, wenn du das nicht verstanden hast und dir das hier zu viel Geld ist, dann bist du am falschen Ort. Was denkst du denn, was dir da geschenkt wird? Was denkst du denn, was so eine goldene Eintrittskarte kostet zu dem Leben, wo du hin willst? Was denkst du denn, was man dafür geben muss? Und wenn Geld echt das Einzige ist, was man für so ein Leben geben kann, wo es um viel mehr geht, wo es um Wohlstand geht, um Gesundheit, um wirkliche Freiheit, um wirkliches Ankommen, ein Erfülltsein, wo es um dein Herz, um dein Leben geht. Sorry, wenn es bei Geld schon aufhört und du dir deswegen das, was da kommen kann, vermeidest, wegen ein bisschen Kohle, dann bist du die Eintrittskarte nicht wert gewesen. Dann bist du nicht ready für den Platz. Weil das ist es nur. Und das musst du verstehen. Weil letztendlich geht es nicht um die Nuggets, die ich dir hier gebe. Es geht nicht um diese Dinge, die du können musst, weil die Skills lernst du sowieso. Gib dir doch genug Zeit. Und das höchste Goal sollte nicht ein Rank sein. Das höchste Goal sollte deine persönliche Weiterentwicklung sein. Weil wenn du dich personality-mäßig immer wieder auf neues Level bringst und das dein Goal ist, immer weiter zu wachsen, supernatural zu werden, dann attractest du alles andere sowieso. Es kommt in dein Leben. Also fokussiere dich nicht auf einen Rank, einen Kontostand und das, weil das ist so klein. Das ist klein gedacht, das ist Anfängerdenken. Konzentriere dich auf dein Wachstum, auf dich, auf dein Herz, auf dein Leben, das, wo du ankommst. Und wenn du einen Job findest, der dir das geben kann und du das hier wegen ein bisschen Geld eintauscht, dann hast du nichts verstanden. Dann hast du nicht verstanden, worum es im Leben wirklich geht. Es geht nicht um Geld. Es geht nicht um Rank. Klar, es geht gewissermaßen den einen oder anderen um Anerkennung und das ist okay, weil wir brauchen Anerkennung. Es geht um was ganz, ganz, ganz anderes. Und das ist etwas, was ich so noch nie irgendwo anders gefunden habe. Und das, was du hier bekommst, ist nur das Sprungbrett zu dem, wo du hin willst. Zu deinem Higher Self. Da geht's hin. Und deswegen, wenn ich von diesem Weg rede, wo es gerade ausgeht und so viele Ablenkungen, Abzweigungen, whatever kommen und das nächste Mal ein Motivationsloch kommt oder du dir denkst, du müsstest eine Pause machen oder aufgeben oder aufhören, dann gibst du gerade deine goldene Karte aus der Hand. Und du wirst, egal ob es die Schokoladenfabrik ist oder keine Ahnung, wirst du niemals von innen sehen. Du hast die Karte weggegeben. Und du hast nicht an dich geglaubt und du hast nicht an das Leben geglaubt, was dir eigentlich zusteht, wo du hingehörst, was definitiv so viel mehr wert ist. Bitte tu dir selber, nicht mir, nicht anderen, tu dir selber bitte den Gefallen. Gönn dir das Leben, was dir zusteht, weil du wissenschaftlich, biologisch ist bewiesen, du hast sowieso nur eins. Scheiß mal auf Geld. Ist doch egal. Es geht um dich. Und damit möchte ich wieder zurückgehen an Jan. Ich will gar nicht großartig überziehen. Ich freue mich total auf das, was jetzt noch kommt. Und Dankeschön, dass ich hier ein bisschen was mit euch teilen durfte.
Hey, Ladies, give it up for Milea Gerdes. Was für ein geiler Part. Wie gesagt, ich habe auch komplett aufmerksam zugehört. Viele sind hier gerade noch in interessanten Gesprächen oder so, aber kommen sicherlich jetzt vielleicht auch noch gleich auf den Call. Einfach Hammer Inspiration, Milea, wirklich. Okay, Leute, unser Special Guest ist schon auf diesem Call. So, schickt einfach mal alle die Flagge von Pakistan oder von Great Britain oder so in den Chat hier rein. Denn ihr müsst euch vorstellen, es ist wirklich die absolute Nummer 1 im europäischen Raum, die wir zum allerersten Mal auf einem solchen Teamcall hier wirklich haben. Und ich werde jetzt ein paar Worte noch in Englisch, sage ich mal, erzählen, mit dem Englisch, das hoffentlich noch halbwegs in Ordnung ist. So, Zain, I think you can hear me right now because if I speak German, you don't understand one word. So I edify you a little bit more in English. So guys, listen up. We have Zain Khan on this team call. It's the first time he takes his time to speak to us, to give us the best value we could have from him, because you have to understand, he's the #1 in Great Britain. He has also a big team in Pakistan. Milea spoke on this call, and I spoke about chairladies, and he has some chairladies from Pakistan in his organization, as you can see here. And yeah, he's a very big inspiration for me, because he's one of the biggest leader in the European movement. And that's why I have the feeling we can learn a lot from this guy. And he's not on our team, he's not our upline or something else. So he don't has a big value to give us a big value. So we should appreciate this a lot more. So I don't know if you can hear me, Zain, but I'm very thankful for our anti-retired young community that you are on this team call from us right now. And guys, give it up for Zain Khan. You can unmute you right now, and I hope you can hear me.
Hey, Jan, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I can hear you. I have to pin you, and then you can go on.
Let me just crack on, and you should be able to see me now.
Yeah, now we can see you. Okay, perfect.
So, man, you were saying some things in German, and don't worry, I understood you perfectly, bro. And I wanted to
really?
I wanted to say Guten Abend, because that is good evening in the UK right now. So I got this whole German game. I got it. Don't worry. No, I'm just playing. I didn't understand anything, but I'm sure you said some nice things. I'm going to try and normally I like to speak very fast in my trainings, but I understand not everyone here has the English as their first language. So, we're going to try and get through this session. Firstly, I want to congratulate Jan and his entire team. He told me, about his business and how it's moving, and he's very close to Chairman 50, and that's an amazing achievement in itself. So I wanted to congratulate your group for being here. Another thing he mentioned was that there's a lot of chairladies coming out of Pakistan. Now, I wish I had chairladies coming out of Pakistan, but it's not actually Pakistan, it's Nigeria. It's Africa. So Nigeria is the one that's produced about I think eight chairmans in the past 2 months or so. So it's been going really, really well. People have been drastically crushing it. So Nigeria is in Africa. I used to have a massive team in Asia. No chairman's there yet, but hopefully one day, as it's very close to my heart, I'm sure you guys would understand that when you're from a country and you can impact that country, it just feels a lot more better as well. So I'm excited to be here. I know it's my first time speaking to the German audience. I wish the situation wasn't as bad, and I can actually travel to Germany and speak, because we know Germany is only about an hour and a bit flight away, and I love to travel. I was just in Netherlands for an event about 2 months ago. I was in Norway for an event about last year before the pandemic. So I do love to travel, especially in Europe, because I don't like flying long. So if there is some markets in Europe that I can go to, then it's better. So I want to wish you guys again. I'm going to speak to you guys very directly on this call, because Jan, I'm sure I'm going to ask you now if you can give me permission to speak to your group as direct as I will speak to not even someone in my
go for it. Let's go.
Perfect. So I would speak to you as though I'm speaking to not just people in my group, but, my friends in my group, because with your friends in your team, you would speak differently than how you would speak on stage. On stage, you might be a bit more polite. You might say some things generally. With your friends, you'd be like, man, what the hell are you doing? You just sitting there, you're not doing no work. You ain't prospecting no people. You can have that conversation with your friends. You're lazy. You should get up. You should, get to the events. You should be on these calls. You said you're going to do this and this, but you haven't done this. And you have these conversations with your friends. And so I'm going to speak to you as though you're a friend. You're sitting with me here in my house, and we're just having a conversation. Okay, so I'm going to be very direct. I'm going to share some slides as well. I done this training, actually. I done this training for my P600 group earlier in the year. So if you're not a P600, great. You get a step ahead for that training. And if you are a P600, fantastic, because then you can utilize this training too. So it works for both ways. So I'm going to speak to you guys as though you're all P600s today. So congratulations in advance if you're not. Okay, so I'm going to share screen with you. Before I do, I just want you to ask yourself right now, how are you doing? Just write in the chat right now, how are you doing? I don't want you to just write good or great or amazing if you're not. I want you to really ask yourself today, how are you doing? Someone said tired, perfect. Someone said 10 out of 10, good. Pakistan's in the bud. Yes, it's Pakistan independence yesterday, so it's our Independence Day. So yes, Pakistan's in the bud for sure. Let me, if I can get these slides up. Someone says good but tired. Someone says sad. Good. I love the honesty. Okay, I love the honesty. Someone said out of energy. Perfecto. Anxious, tired but blessed. Amazing. Relaxed, thankful, educated. I'm sure you guys had this cool start earlier, so I'm sure the training has got you a bit more into tune on what you need to do. Thankful again. Okay, great, wicked. So, okay. So my training today is not going to be too long, but it's going to be very detailed. And the reason why I like to do detailed trainings is because it helps people understand where they are. Okay, so I'm going to try and speak low. Speak slow. So we all get an idea of what I'm talking about when I speak about these things. Because most of the time, we would say in the business perspective, everyone wants to run through things on a skill perspective. How do we prospect? How do we invite? How do we close? So at the end, if there are some people on this call that, you might be good at prospecting, but you're not good at, getting people on the call, but you're good at getting the number maybe, or you're good at getting people on the calls, but you're not good at turning over those guests and making them into potential customers. Or some of you may be doing all those things very well. You're very good recruiters, but at the same time, what happens is that, you can actually go from being a recruiter and closing people, but you can't maintain people because of your system and your structure. Let me just, sorry, if I can, Ajahn, I think you're a host. If you can just disable the annotations from your side, just so we don't have any kind of interruptions, because I know some.
Yes, wait, I can make you to the host.
Okay, perfect. Let me just start that again, because I know that happens sometimes. Okay, I done it. Okay, so we're good. Wicked. Okay, so we start again. So as I was saying, these are the kind of conversations that I love to have, because why? These are direct conversations, and I've been in this industry now for, I started when I was 19 years old. Not this company, but I started when I was 19. And if you're writing down notes, when I go into this presentation, you'll have a lot of stuff to write down. But the main thing I want you guys to ask yourself right now, you're not ever old. You're always young in the business, old in the outside the business. So for example, if you look at the business perspective, if you look at life, for instance, you might say to yourself, okay, I'm 20, I'm 25, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50. But when it comes to business, if you've been in a business for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you are still very young in the business. So regardless of how old you are, how young you are, the more you grow, the more you go in the business, the more you grow in the business. So this is what I want you to ask yourself. How long, write this down for yourself. How long have I done the business? Don't write how long I've been in the business. Okay? And you don't have to tell me that. You don't have to tell no one that. When you write that down, you give yourself a real perspective of what you've been able to do. So, you know, when I asked the question earlier on how you're feeling, when it comes to business, when people feel sad or people feel burnt out or people feel tired or strained or cautious, when you've been in the business for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and you haven't done the business 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, that's very different. So I was speaking to one person on my team. They said to me, Zain, I've been in the business 1 year. You know, I haven't hit platinum 2,000 yet. I haven't hit platinum 5,000 yet. I really wanted to go chairman in my first year. And I asked the person, you know, you've been in the business 1 year, that's fine. You signed up 1 year ago. Now, tell me your schedule from then to now. So what have you written down what you've done? I'm sure you have a diary. Have you wrote down what you've done? Okay. Yes, I wrote down what I've done. Perfect. Okay, how many hours per week did you do? I said, I never really calculate all the hours, but I tried to do at least one presentation a day. So one presentation a day is about 30 to 45 minutes. If you do 30, 45 minutes per day, let's say you've done one presentation every day. That's 7 days a week. 7 times 30, right? 30 minutes. You're looking at about 3 hours or so. Okay, about 3 hours. So that's 3 to 4 hours per week you've done, right? You times that by 4 because there's 4 weeks in a month. Times that by 4, that's 12. 12 times for the year, 12 times 12 is 144. 144 hours in the year you've done. So if you compare 144 hours to not even a business, forget about a business. Let's just talk about a job. Let's say you're working in retail or wherever, you had a job. If you compare that to a job, most people work full-time around 40 hours a week. Inside a month, you do around 160 hours. That's 9 to 5, 8 hours. Imagine if you were to compare your business of 144 hours to the job, you would have finished in 3 weeks. So you've only really done the business for 3 weeks. You haven't done the business for a year. You've only been in the business for a year. Now, I don't know about you, but I would definitely love, if I was to compare it and say, okay, you know what? Imagine if I was to do this business like even a normal job, just spend 1 day 9 to 5 or 2 days 9 to 5. That would be an extra 16 hours. Where would that leave my business? That's questions, again, I want to ask myself through the motion, okay? So the 4 types of bondage, I'm going to speak about this first because many of you, of course, bondage, you already know what it means. Bondage is a sense of relationship, okay? When you have types of bondage, it is a sense of relationship. So the first type of bondage you may have is financial. How many of you are close to your money? Like you have a relationship with your money. Like if someone takes your money, you're going to feel affected. If you spend your money, how many times you go to a restaurant, you buy something, you spend a lot of money, and then you check your online banking. You know, how much did I really spend in that restaurant? Or did I really need to buy that jacket? Or did I need to go out and spend all that money on a holiday, etc.? So we're bonded financially. Financial bonding is a strong type of bonding. Okay, very strong. Then there's this type of spiritual bonding. Now, everything I say on this call, I'm saying it from not fact. I'm saying it from experience and opinion. No one can be a guest speaker. No one, not Alex Morton, not Jason Brown, not Richard Bentner, not myself, no one, not Julian Kushner. No one can sit here and tell you this is right, this is wrong. No one. Everyone can tell you what they've done and it's been right for them. Does it mean it can happen for you? Of course. So they're just saying what was gone right for them. Okay. Second type of thing is spiritual. So whether you believe in God, whether you don't, whether you believe in energy or whatever higher power, universe, that spiritual bonding is also a very powerful measure. Okay, so to believe in something is also another way to build a relationship. And you're going to know why I'm getting to this later on. Having a spiritual sense of everything that's going on is a very powerful way to build bondage. Okay, then there's the third aspect, the physical aspect. How many times do we, focus on our health? Health is a massive. If you go to the gym, I know it's massive around Europe, going to the gym, cycling. Physical type of bondage is also a massive, massive, powerful bondage because it keeps you committed to what you're doing. So if you go to the gym, you want to lose some weight, you might have a goal. You might, it might be a wedding coming up, or you might just want to lose weight because you're getting overweight or you're getting underweight. Regardless of the goal, physical bondage is also another powerful type of bondage. And then there's the mental bondage, which is the final one. So mentally, you are asking yourself questions every day. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I try this? Was this right for me? These are the kind of questions that you're asking yourself on a day-to-day basis. And all of these questions, they also lead to some kind of relationship. Who's that relationship with? Yourself. Because every time you go through some measures, you constantly speaking to yourself about it. So if I'm an athlete and I play football, if I have a bad game, I'm always going to be speaking not just to my coach, not just to my mentors, but I'm also going to be having that conversation with myself. Yes or yes. So if that conversation I'm going to have with myself is also going to be a very important factor that I stay strong mentally myself, because the more conversation I have with myself, the better it's going to be for me long term. So these are the 4 types of bondage. And this is the kind of bondage that you want to make sure you secure for yourself. So the financial bondage, how you're spending your money, very important. Okay. Me, what I started doing around 3-4 years ago, I started to write down what I spend on. It could be a car or it can be a suite for my son. I just write it down. The reason why I write it down is because I know what kind of bondage I'm creating with my own wealth financially. Okay. Spiritually, me, myself, I pray, so that's one of my spiritual relationships. Okay. It's something that keeps me intact spiritually. Whether your finances are great or not, the spirit side's always going to be there. Then you have the physical side. I go to the gym or I do some kind of sport. Having that physical bondage is very important, because when you feel good or when you look good, you feel good. Does that make sense? When you look in the mirror, man, I like where I am. Normally, when you're walking down the street, you have a sense of confidence. You don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel underwhelmed. You feel happy about where you are health-wise. And so that is another type of bondage. And then the 4th one is mental. How are you mentally? What kind of conversations are you having with yourself? Alex Morton told me this. He said, Zain, if you're having the right conversations with yourself, the right things will happen. If you're having the negative conversations with yourself, negative things will happen. If you're constantly thinking, okay, you know what? This car is too big. Maybe I should downgrade. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get that downgraded car. Because the world or universe or God, whoever you believe in, is not going to pass you those things if you're thinking about the lower things. Okay, so these are the kind of bondage you want to stick to. These are the 4 main types. There are others, but these are the 4 main. If you can get these in control, if you can control your finances on your choices, your spirituality on your choices, and your physical and mental side, that's the start of the game. Everything stems from those things. Okay, now let's go into the training. I just wanted to set up the bondage side for you, so you know where I lead with relationships. Now, many of us, of course, in business, we constantly ask ourselves, what is the reason I didn't get this? What should I do with that? How do I do this? What essentially in life is only going to be 2 things you end up with. I got this from LeBron James, the athlete, of course, that everyone knows, the NBA star, and he's now a billionaire. Okay, so he's a very, very successful business owner. He says in life, you end up with 2 things, results or the reason you didn't get them. So realize in the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to matter. So all of you on this call right now, whether you read books, whether you go on these calls, whether you're cheering, yay. When you're doing all of that, that's called active. That's not called productive. Do you get paid for cheering? No, you do it because you're active. Do the fans get paid or do the players get paid? The players get paid. The fans are just supporting the players. Okay? So we got the reasons you didn't get them or the results. So you can choose whether you want to be active or productive. Now, am I saying reading a book or jumping on these calls, or going to the games, is that bad? No. But that is called active. That's not called productive. Productive leads to, the word inside productive is produce. Produce means you have to create something. Something has to give, okay? So whether that's putting a customer into your business or putting a trade in your trading account, that's the only two things you get paid. If anyone knows any other way to get paid in I Am Master Academy, let me know. I'm going to do it. But the only two ways you get paid is if a customer goes into your business or you've entered a trade on a live account, not a demo account, on a live account. Okay. So I want this is something, right? This is a very basic quote, but why is it important that you hear it? Because sometimes people skip away from the reality and they get overwhelmed with all the excitement, with the cheering, etc., with the events, with the hype around other chairmen. It can excite you, but remember, that's active, not productive. Okay. Now I got this from Bob Proctor, the 3 paradigms. I'm sure many of you guys know Bob Proctor. The 3 paradigms of success. Many of us right now, we're hungry. What does that mean? That we're ambitious, that we're go-getters, we're chairman wannabes, basically. And so whatever we're going for, that's the first paradigm to have, the hunger. If you are not hungry enough, then what happens is that you go 1 step forward, then 2 steps forward, and then you hit some kind of wall. How many of you guys have had that? You do all this work, you sign someone up, the person quits in the first month, then you feel like you've hit a brick wall, and then you take a back step. Shall I prospect that way? Maybe I should speak to someone about how I prospect. Maybe I should speak to someone about how I launch. Just because someone said no to you, which they were going to say no to anyone, it's not about you. It's about the right things sometimes fall on the right people, and sometimes the right things fall on the wrong people. I can tell you right now, sometimes you can even do the wrong things and it will fall on right people. I've got so many examples in my group of people who are not the best presenters, who can't launch really well, who haven't got a great system, but they have people in their teams that have gone chairman. Because the people in their teams were already chairmen. It didn't matter who signed them up. I know Jan's upline, whether he's from Germany, I know the Germany team started from the US. I know it's been international. So would you agree that there are some kind of bridges that have been, that's been quite distant for you to go and build up for yourself? Like, it's not easy. Like for me in Africa right now, I've never gone to Africa once, but we have over 10 chairmen there now. So the people that are down there, they already wanted to win. They were already hungry to win. Okay. So that's the first type of paradigm. Second type of paradigm is when you have success and then lost it. That's another type of paradigm you get. So realize there's going to be a time where you're going to have, because we know nothing is always going to be up and nothing is always going to be down. There's going to be lots of wins and losses and wins and losses and wins and losses. So even if you had some success, that doesn't mean it's always going to happen. And so you need to understand that paradigm, when you actually have success, you actually tend to work harder when you have it. So realize that when you actually are doing well, that's more reason for you to work harder. A lot of people, they turn off. They turn off when things are going well. Oh, my team is booming. Let me just do trainings. I don't have to do a presentation no more. I don't have to prospect no more. I don't have to sign people up. I don't have to, go and do events and build people for guests. I don't have to invest money into my business. When things are going well, you kind of take a seat back and you don't want to be that person. Okay. So that's another type of paradigm. And then The third type paradigm is where you go from money to meaning. Okay, you take away your success is not predicated on the money, it's more towards the meaning of success. Okay, the meaning basically could mean anything you want it to mean. Okay, I know for me, when I first started, for me, the reason why I wanted to become successful was my parents. They thought I was like, how can I say it in like German for you to guys understand? Like a bum, like a bum, you guys know, like lazy, good for nothing. That was me. Because I had played football for most of my life and I failed school most of my life. So I was very bad in school. So when I went to university, I just done it because my mom was going to kick me out of the house if I didn't do it. If you're Asian people would know, if you're Asian, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or you're out of the house. So if I didn't go to university, I wouldn't be able to be in those professions, doctor or lawyer. So I knew if I wasn't going to make it in sport, this entrepreneurial thing, my mom and dad, they were not gonna say yes to this. When I first started, my goal wasn't to make money. My goal was to get money to give to them so they can feel that it's real. So my first paycheck I made was like, my first big paycheck was 10,000 euro. Let's say 10,000 euros. Not my first paycheck, but in my first 4 months, I had made collectively 10,000 euros. I had saved up for making 2,000, 3,000, and so on. So I had this 10,000 euros that I had made in my first 4 months in the company. And I gave my mom 5 and I gave my dad 5. Since then, my mom and dad have always been supportive. They just, when I first started, if you went to my mom's house, when I first started, my dad would say, I told him to get a refund. You get 7-day trial refund in this company. I had it in my first company too. So my dad was telling me get a refund. So often now, if you go to my house, 7 years later, I've made now over 3 million euro in the industry. If you were to compare now, if you go to my dad's place now, my dad won't even remember that he was negative. He would say, I told my son to do it. He would say now that he believed in me from the start. So I want you guys to know that once you go from money to meaning, the people that are skeptical about you right now, or they say to you, oh, you're not going to make it, or I'll come back when you're winning. How many people have said it to you? Oh, I'll come back when you're making money. I'll come see you when you're killing it, because they know you. And so when you do kill it, they will forget that they were negative in the beginning because you went from money to meaning. The money will come. When that meaning comes in, that's when you really run. Because if I chased the money in the beginning, I don't think I would have made 10,000 euro in the first 4 months. But because I wanted to impress my parents, I felt like if I didn't make money to impress them, they would feel like I'm not doing good enough. And I would end up stopping the business. I was only 19 and I was living in their house. So there was many obstacles that I had to overcome. So realize that third paradigm is probably the most powerful you're going to face. So as you start to gain some success, you're going to need to understand that it needs to go from money to meaning. Once it goes to some kind of meaning, that's when it becomes solid, becomes strong, because everyone wants money, guys. People in Germany want money. People in Pakistan want money. People in Dubai want money. People in Africa want money. You tell me one country where they don't want money. You tell me one family that don't want money. Everyone wants it. So if everyone wants money, why should you get it? Why should you get it? Why should you deserve it? You get it based on what you produce, what you're productive on. You don't deserve money until you earn it. Deserving is earning. Earning is deserving. Because we don't get paid by the hour, guys. You guys understand this, right? We're not working in Zara or Next or JD Sports or McDonald's. We don't get paid by hour. We get paid on performance. We are athletes in this game, okay? Next thing, I want you guys to really, really be understanding mindset. You see mindset, everyone talks about mindset. What kind of mindset do you need? I got this from a book, and I can tell you right now, it's probably the best indication of mindset. You know where I got this from? The dictionary. I got it from the dictionary, and it's the most perfect way to describe it. The set of attitudes established by someone which determines their emotional intelligence and dictates their actions towards an event. Wow. When I read this, I was like, man, why the hell am I learning mindset from professional coaches? It's in the dictionary. It's plain blank, simple. The goal of the effective mindset is different. The goal of the effective mindset is to be happy and escape bondage. Okay? Don't be tied down. Don't be bogged down. They call it bogged down in UK. When you're bogged down to something, when they say you're not a tree, so don't get stuck. Okay, Jan, let me know how I'm doing for time. I don't know if you have any other speakers today.
No, you are last speaker today.
Perfect, wicked. So I can go until midnight then. No, I'm just playing. I'm gonna finish up soon. The set of, so again, if you wanna write this down, you write it down, you take a picture. But the set of attitudes established by someone which determines their emotional intelligence and dictates their actions towards them. Now remember, if you get your mind right, everything falls right with it, because everything stems from the mind. Okay. Here's what I did to make sure I had that effective mindset, because you have to do something to get your mind right. To make your teeth clean every day, you brush them. To make your body clean every day, you shower. So you need to have something that keeps your mind effectively clean. The way I do this is I don't go on Instagram. Don't do that. I don't go on social media. Don't do that. I don't watch the news. Don't do that. I don't watch movies. I don't do that. I don't speak to people. I don't do that. Here's what I do to help my mindset. Whether you drive or if you like reading, I'm not much of a reader. I like to listen to more audios. Nowadays, instead of listening to music, I will everywhere I travel, whether I go to the gym, whether I go to the restaurant, whether I go with my family somewhere, or I go to a meeting, I'm listening to personal development in my car. So if you listen to 30 minutes every start of the day, it can be anything, any book, obviously any positive book, not like novels, but like personal development books, right? You listen to that 30 minutes in a day. I promise you, your day will start. Like if you had a meeting and someone said no, like it wouldn't even feel like a no. It would just feel like, okay. Why? Because your mind is now stronger. It's like going to the gym. You train your body, it becomes stronger. You don't have to build muscles. It's more the muscle in the brain, the mind. It gets stronger. You adapt to these things. This is why when you hear about fighters, fighters like UFC, boxing, a lot of the fighters that have very bad pasts, like they have a bad, they come from bad neighborhood or bad history or bad parents, their parents used to hit them. So they go into that line of sport and they want to take out their anger because their mind has been muscled with bad thoughts and they're going to dictate them somewhere else. So with us, if we train our mind on positivity, when we're going and doing these meetings, it's going to be very difficult for your mind to be upset over these small no's, over these small quitters, because what you've been reading has been so powerful. What you've been listening to is so powerful. What you've been watching has been so powerful. Okay, very important. Now, last couple slides before I do a small Q&A with you guys, okay? There's two types of people when you get onto the field. So if you look at baseball, for instance, right? You have a massive stadium. And when you have a field like this, realize that they say when you die, your life, it flashes before you. This can be not true, but what if it is true? What if before you die, your life just flashes before you close your eyes? Do you want to be the what if guy? You know, what if I tried this? What if I done more hours? What if I done more study on HFX or crypto, or I invested better, or I took more risks? You know, there's a national survey done on people over the age of 80 on their deathbeds. There was a national survey in the UK, and every single person that they surveyed, they asked them, hey, what did you love about your life? And there'll be an old woman or old guy, they would say, you know, I loved the 1980s. You know, I got married, I had my honeymoon, you know, it was great. I had my kids 2 years later. And the person said, okay, what about the 1990s? Oh no, the 1990s weren't so good. You know, the kids got bigger, it got very busy, the hectic lifestyle. Then later the kids got married. Oh yeah, my kids got married in 1998 and 1999 and then 2000s. And then, you know, I went into retirement in 2010, and they constantly speak about a few years. And you ask them, okay, what about these 10, 15 years in between? Just working. And the average person was saying, you ask them, what did you regret? You know what they said? Every single person over the age of 80, you ask them, what did you regret? You know what they said? I should have taken more risks. That's all of them said this. Because they were only remembered around 6 to 7 years of their whole life. So if you look at your life right now, if I said to you, what's been your best years? How many years can you point out? 2, 3? You know, you met your boyfriend that year. You met your wife that year. You had a kid that year. You got a promotion that year. You got graduated that year. And then what? And then it's just like year after year after year. I can tell you right now, I can tell you exactly how each of my years have gone in this profession. And every year has been different, and every year has been amazing. From the traveling, to the people I've met, to the businesses I've been involved in, to the houses I've lived in, to the cars that I've driven, every year has been different. And the only reason that is because there's no what ifs with me. And not just me, many entrepreneurs around the world can say this. I do things, and then I find out if I suck later on. Make sense? I do it, and then if I suck at it, no problem. I move on. Okay? If I'm really persistent, I carry on. It happens in sports, it happens in business, it happens in relationships. You have to try. Okay? So don't be in the what if. Because there's going to be a lot of people. Let's just imagine this is a stadium and everyone here is dead. And these are the what if people. And what if I did this? What if I did that? What if? Do you want to be in this? Or do you want to be in this? Do you want to make sure you keep swinging? You have to ask yourself, what's the reason you're going to keep swinging? Because when I said to you, what if? You're probably thinking to yourself, oh, I got money to make. I got chairman to hit. I got big goals. But really and truly, we go back to the fact that that's money. Your reason has to be as powerful as it is big, and also needs to have short-term and long-term goals. For example, my short-term goal was to help my parents with some money so they can feel happy about what I'm doing, because I needed happiness in my house. That was a strategy for me. I needed good morale in my house. Then I had a long-term goal of retiring my mom, because I know my mom worked in some crappy supermarket. She was working in the bakery section for like 21 years. You know, my mom done that. My mom done one job for 21 years. So I was 21 years old. So she was doing that, you know, when I was 21, she was doing that most of my life, if not all my life. She working in one shop, in one bakery section from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I used to get so agitated that she works there, because she was only making about 1,000 or 1,200 euro per month. So if I can make a side hustle, if I can make a business generate for me 1,500, 2,000 euro, if I'm a platinum 2,000 and my mom is, and I can give that some money to my mom and she can go part-time, or she can come off work, that's an amazing thing. I can tell you right now, after 2 years of being in this profession, I was able to take my mom out of work. You know, she hasn't worked for 5 years now. And that's, you know, she's not old. She's like 55. So she could have still been working right now. There's many people her age still working. So this is why you have to have your reason. It has to be a big long term, and it has to be powerful short term. Something quick. Like if I ask you right now, hey, go to the gym, go lose some weight. You're getting overweight. You said to me, oh, Zain, man, it's long, bro. You know, it's I can't even bother today. It's too much today. But if you had a wedding coming up in 2 months or 3 months, you think you're gonna need me to tell you, man, you want to look good on your wedding. You're gonna be in the gym. You didn't even have to tell me. You've been to the gym twice a day, maybe. Because you have that short-term powerful goal. And then what do people get after marriage? They get fat. they lose all their everything that they were gaining up until the wedding. After that might go out the window. But that short-term powerful, you know, push is what needs you to get over the line. Okay, very, very important. So hopefully that gives you guys some kind of direction of where I stand, you know, when it comes to the mindset fact, when it comes to the business fact, when it comes to everything that we're talking about, you know, within our businesses. It's very, very important, you know, that we actually focus on these dynamics. We don't just focus on how to prospect, how to invite. You're going to learn these things as you go. The best experience, the best teacher is your experience. Okay. So hopefully this session has given you guys some information about how to do things on the outside. I am going to have, because I promise you guys, I'm going to have a small Q&A with you guys. So Jan, if we have time, I'll do like a
yeah, let's go on. How many questions?
So we'll do 5 questions, 5 maximum. Perfect. Okay. And I'll try and pick the ones that are quite diverse, so they're not the same questions. So if you guys write your questions on the chat box, if everyone can stop doing numbers, thank you. I love you for that, by the way, even though I don't know what the numbers mean. But if you write the questions on the chat, okay, you guys are writing them down anyway. We'll go through those questions, and I'll try and pick the most important questions, which I feel are the most important for you to know. There are going to be some questions like, what's your Insta, which is probably not as important, but you can get it from my my name, I think is on there. So that's a quick answer for you, but that's a very important question, just not an important question right now. Normally I wouldn't get that question. But yeah, okay. Okay, let's get these questions in. Okay, so first question, did your why change over the years? Yes, it did. Of course, when I hit my why, when I, you know, got my why in a sense, and when I got what I wanted in terms of my why, whether it be a car, whether it be an income, you know, whether it be, you know, wherever to go, retiring my parents, that why had to upgrade. You know, so I have to be changing my whys constantly. And your why might not be important for the public. It has to be important for you personally. So that's why a why makes you emotional. A lot of people, when I used to ask them for their why, they used to get emotional. And the reason why it's emotional is because it's not something someone else can get emotional about. It's only your why, something for you to do. And I promise you, if you don't do it, you're going to be pissed off for a long time. Excuse my German. I'm joking. Just excuse my French. But you're going to be very annoyed with yourself if you don't achieve the whys. Now, here's what you can do. You can always try your best for these whys, but remember, trying is the first step. Accomplishing is the last step. In between trying and accomplishing is a mentor. It's mentorship. There's someone that needs to directly guide you from that trying to the accomplishment. There needs to be some kind of mentorship towards that. Now, do I mean someone that does presentations for you every day? No. I just mean someone on the phone. Hey, do this, do that. I would do this, I would do that. Even now, when I want to buy something, I'll call David, you know, I'll call Alex and be like, hey, you know, I'm going to go do this. Should I do it? You know, that's important, you know, to give you that direction. Okay. So that answers the question. That's question number 1. Did your why change over the years? Yep, it did. Okay, so we got which. Okay, another good question. Which type of people impact you the most? Okay, this is a very good question because a lot of people right now, they look at everyone on social media. Look at everyone. You got people looking at, Kanye West to Nicki Minaj to Kim Kardashian to then Grant Cardone to then Gary Vee. Then you got David and Minitier. So you're looking at a bunch of very different people there. Here's what I do. When I'm in a zone, like let's say I'm on a 90-day game plan. I'm on a 90-day, blueprint. I'm sure you guys have heard about 90-day blueprints and 90-day game plans. I focus on where all my productivity will come from. So whether I'm listening to something or I'm watching something or I'm scrolling something, everything that affects my mind will affect what I do. This is why if you watch a movie before you go sleep, what do you normally dream about? You dream about the movie. You watch the horror movie, you're going to be shivering in your bed, right? You're going to be scared. Anything that moves, you'll be scared. Because why? Your mental subconscious mind is now plugged in from that movie. That curtain that was moving, it was moving the night before, but it never scared you. But because you watched that movie, boom, everything that happens is affected by that. So I started to watch things that I feel were important for me and I didn't contradict. So there's no point in me watching Gary Vee and watching Grant Cardone in the same scope. Why? Because Gary Vee, he speaks about happiness and empathy and money isn't everything. And then you got Grant Cardone who says, forget that, money is everything. Go for money, forget about happiness. You'll find happiness when you get money. So those are two very different people. Why would I watch both? It doesn't make sense. That means I'm confused about what I should do, what I should follow. That's why from the beginning, as soon as I became Chairman 10, I went Chairman 10, we went Chairman 10 in 6 months, and then we went Chairman 25 1 month later. Because I started to watch someone who was Chairman 25, who I wanted to be like. And so constantly, I was watching what this guy was doing, what he was posting on his story, what kind of events he was doing. And then when I hit Chairman 25, I done the same thing. He was Chairman 50. And then I had Chairman 50, 2 months later, we were just running. And so I was watching these guys that I wanted to be. So you used to ask yourself right now, who do I want to be like when I hit that rank? So if you're a Chairman 100 and you wanted to be like me, you would watch what I do. If you want a Chairman 100 and you want to be a Chairman 50 and you're looking at David, you wouldn't watch what he does. Does that make sense? So you need to find that person or those people that you want to be like once you reach that kind of level of success. Because you need to choose, do I want to be like Gary Vee as a successful entrepreneur? Or do I want to be like Grant Cardone as a accessible? Because they're both successful. They both have a lot of money. So who's right? Who's wrong? There's no right and wrong, like I told you. There's only opinions and experiences. That's it. So you pick and choose, okay? So that's answer number 2. Good question. What's your nighttime routine? Sleep, man. Get your sleep in. That's my nighttime routine. Go to sleep. No, now that I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old baby, it's quite difficult to sleep. I really value when I was building the business without the family. When you have the family, is so much more tough. All you single mothers, all you new parents, and you're pushing the business. I can definitely vouch for it being harder. What was okay? We had that question. Someone says, what do you do to be and stay happy and grateful? So, very good question. What do you do to stay happy and grateful? First and foremost, you need a card with a note on there that you have in your wallet or you have access to. Mine's in my wallet over there. And this card basically has to have written, I am so happy and grateful that I am wherever you want to round it. Now with me, I have 2. I am so happy and grateful that I am my goal. Then I am so happy and grateful that I am my current situation. It's so important. A lot of people don't have that one. They only have their goal. because you can't be excited about achieving something else when you're not excited about where you are. When you wake up, you need to be super grateful that you were even able to wake up. So the smallest things should make you happy. And do you know what I do to be grateful? I never look at people above me. When it comes to business, when it comes to finances, when it comes to anything, always look at someone below you and look, if you find someone happy at the position below you, then you'll feel really bad about being unhappy in your position. If I have a chairman 10 who's like, man, I love life, I love this, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to be chairman 250, you know, this chairman 100 is just, it's dragging on now. You know, it's going to make me feel like much more grateful. This guy is making 10 times less money than me, and he's fired up. And me, I'm making 100,000. And I'm like screaming about $250,000. So this is why I always look at people below you to feel grateful. Of course, look at people above you to get inspired, but always look at people below you to feel grateful. That's what I did. That's what I always do, you know, and at the same time, you know, my religion teaches people to stay humble with your wealth, you know, not to feel like you're on top of the world, basically, when you're making money. I know a lot of people, when the money comes, it gets to their head, you know, and that can happen unwillingly. You might think that you're being humble, but you're not. So that's something I always try and work on, you know, my own humility. And that's one of the reasons why I started a family early, because I didn't want to spend money on the wrong things, basically. Okay, so that's three answers, and we'll go for two more. Okay, someone asked, okay, we asked that question. I'm trying to find the best questions for you guys, right? So just bear with me, guys. Okay, perfect. So we have another question regarding international expansion. How important is it and how would you do it? So realize that today, guys, international expanding is probably more important than it ever was. You know, now that there's Zooms and there's the pandemics and stuff, you guys already know you can't just build local. You have to build global. It's very important that you get your own status out in the world, because you have to understand that there's people out there in Germany who know you for you and know you for how long you've been doing the business. They know how successful you've done and how not successful you've been. And so if you've been successful or not been successful, that market share in itself is great to have, but know that there's people outside of Germany who don't know how long you've been in the business, don't know how successful you are, don't know how good you are. And so you need to be the one to kind of stake your claim outside of your country. Make people understand that it's definitely possible to build your business outside of the market. And that's what I always do. I always make sure that I'm trying to leave some kind of print, not just here, but in other countries as well. I know there's going to be times when it goes and then it crumbles. That's fine. But you rather have something starting in other countries, not just your local market, because what that does, it adds more seeds to your global presence. So if something happens in Germany and momentum goes down, you have an Asia market, you have an Africa market, or you have a North America market, you have other countries in Europe market. We have to understand that Europe is untouched. You know, there's only Germany, UK, and France. Not even UK, England. So Germany, England, and France that have, and you can say Portugal now as well, I think is coming up. Those are the kind of 4 chairman countries. Everything else is completely open. So, you got a lot of countries in Europe that we can actually build with. So it's important that you make that effort. Okay. So expanding is always the first step, getting yourself out there using social media. Okay. Okay. And the last and final question, it's a good question. How do you handle distractions? How many of you guys get distracted? Everyone gets distracted. Distracting is a type of circumstance that can come from any measure. It can come from kids. It can come from family. It can come from going out. It can come from birthdays. It can come from the weather. as the sun is a distraction. Why? Because you want to wear less clothes. You don't want to jump on the Zoom meetings now because it's too hot. You want to enjoy the weather while it's here and before it goes dark and gloomy again. These are all types of distractions that we have. This is why when someone says tired or burned out or etc., you're not doing the business the way it should be done in terms of fitness. Like I said, we're athletes. You don't want to be doing the business 24/7. You want to be doing the business for a certain amount of time, 24/7. This is like a marathon with sprints. So in the marathon, you're going to have times where you're very, very slow. And there's going to have to be times where you go hard. And there's going to be a time, again, you go slow. So you have to be smart. You can't just go fast and you can't just go slow. So when someone says, oh, it's a marathon, well, it's not really a marathon, is it? Because if you keep going slow and you're stuck at P1000 for 7 years, you're not really going to be happy about what you've done in IM Mastery Academy. This is me being real, by the way. This is not me being fake. You're going to feel like, okay, and I could have done more, if you're just jogging for 5, 6, 7 years. And that's great. You can jog and you can be P1K. But if you're like go-getters, like myself, who wants to go make big money, because Chris Terry is giving you big money. Chris Terry is telling you, hey, man, I made this comp plan for you to make the money, not for you to talk about it, not for you to look at it. It's for you to make. And if it's there to make, it's there to make. So that's something I definitely would urge you guys to do. Set small sprints within your marathons. So me, I understand that in a year, if I worked really hard for like 3 or 4 months, then that year can be paid for, basically. I can do enough. Like when I went Chairman 10 to Chairman 50 in about 4 months, that period alone paid for the whole of 2019 for me. I had made from Chairman 50, when I was Chairman 50 for the year, it was because of those 4 months. I retained my rank. I never dropped rank from Chairman 50 in 2019 because of those 4 months from 2018 to 2019, November to February. I remember it was massive. And the reason why I never dropped rank was not because of what I done at Chairman 50, it's because of what I done before. And so at Chairman 50, even though things slowed down and I slowed down, I had my son in 2019. As soon as I went Chairman 50, I had my son, boom. So my time went down. And so even though I went slower, I was still, it's like a race. I was still number one. I had sprinted so far ahead that, I didn't get caught up. So very important you understand that you're going to have sprints, jogs, and you find those moments. But if you say, oh, I'm doing 90 days and then the sun comes out and you go and enjoy the sun, you're not really working for the 90 days. You're working with your circumstances. And if the circumstances change with the distractions, you're going to be back in the same spot. Because you know what this industry is, guys? You know what this company is? It's savage, man. It's real. Like, if you're lazy, it'll catch you. It will see you. It will say, man, this guy, you don't really want it. Like I don't know how much meetings you're doing. When they say what they say about God is that when you lie and you lie to yourself, God knows. Your mom might not know, but you lie to yourself, and God knows. And so when it comes to the business and you're lethargic and you don't do things right, you know what's gonna happen? The industry is gonna turn on you. It's gonna flip. It's gonna say, you know what? I was giving it to him. I was giving it to her. It was coming. And then she just went, she left it. And you won't even see it happen. The industry won't tell you, yeah, we were coming for you, babe. And then we just, we had to go. No. You'll find out late in your industry, late in your career, that this could have been something that could have changed your life or not. But we'll never know. So hopefully that answers some of the questions. I know there's a lot more questions, but just because of time purposes, I'll pass it back over to Jen. It's been great speaking to you guys. Of course, in Germany, it's something that we're definitely gonna make it happen. In live in person. Julian Kushner is a very good friend of mine. I know he's been coming over. So the next time he definitely comes, we'll make something happen in Europe together. It's about time that we take Europe to another level and make it one of the biggest markets in the company. So wish you guys all the best, and I'll pass it back over to Jen. Jen, I hope for your sake and for your team's sake and for the market's sake, that you become a big C100 in the coming year and years to come. Okay, guys? Take care. I'll pass it back over to Jen.
Thank you, Zain. Oh my God, guys, was war das für ein verdammter Call? Ich könnte jetzt hier den Chairman Screen eigentlich machen. So, verdammte Scheiße, Mann. Wirklich 1 Stunde Value. Die Leute sind immer noch draußen am Warten auf Silas und mich, aber so jemand muss man einfach zu 100% den nötigen Respekt erweisen. Und er hat sich auch die Zeit für uns einfach 1 Stunde lang jetzt genommen, so einen krassen Value wirklich rauszuhauen. Deswegen, thank you very much. Then if we can do something for you in the European market, we're open for it. Und ja, Leute, Dankbarkeit ist wirklich extrem wichtig. Ich habe sehr, sehr viele Punkte mitgenommen. Der wichtigste Punkt gerade, wenn du gerade an einem unglücklichen Punkt bist, betrachte eine Person, die es aus deiner Sichtweise in gewissen, beispielsweise mental, spirituell, finanziell oder körperlich schlechter geht als du und diese Person vielleicht doch trotzdem glücklicher ist als du und du wirst sofort um einiges dankbarer sein. Es war ein krasser Nugget auf jeden Fall, Nugget of the Day. Und in dem Sinne, Leute, ich wünsche euch eine gute Nacht. War ein geiler Late-Night-Call im Endeffekt auch so ein wenig. Morgen 21 Uhr haben wir diesen hübschen Jungen hier, diesen kleinen Hübschling, auf einem Network-Training-Call. Informationen dazu droppen morgen Vormittag. Und in dem Sinne wünsche ich euch jetzt noch einen schönen Abend. Wir sehen uns in Österreich die nächsten 3 Tage, dann wieder in Deutschland. Peace out. Also, always on the run. Bis dann. Ciao, ciao.